Yes, and what I could start with, it was an incredible effort on the part of Central Command, particularly the Army component. It was, I mean, you could just look at the manual and see that it was going to be a challenge. The JLOPS does work in relatively calm seas or a lake, and that's not what they got, right? The Eastern Mediterranean this time of year was not those things, and most of the time it was above the capacity for it to withstand. So the criticism to use it, I think, it's fair one way or the other. Uh, but I can say it brought in a lot of food. Even the short time it was up, that it brought in a lot of food into Gaza that was desperately needed by the people of Gaza that wouldn't have gotten it. And at the end of the day, and we were proud to be our small part to support it. It was actually got to more people without being looted than other parts of Gaza.
So it filled a critical need at a critical time.
Yeah, and I would like to see it continue. Right, Sam Mundy and I lead the group that kind of came up with a plan. We came up with a plan that didn't require the JLOTs, right? So we'd like to see it go back to that, where it would be a port facility, temporary, because it needs to meet the standards of the Israelis, that could withstand every sea state in the Eastern Mediterranean, right? So it wouldn't have to be moved.
Yeah,
it would be temporary, and we'd like to see that, but that's not up to us. Obviously, it would already be happening. But the U.S. government, royally, built the beach landing zone, the aid delivery zone. It's already there, right? The Cypriot government and everybody set up the system in Cyprus. That's already there, with the screeners and all that stuff that had to go into play. And now there's no maritime. So hopefully, the powers that be decide it needs to happen. It's not us, fine. It needs to be somebody else. That doesn't mean they shouldn't have the ground corridors opened up. They should be opened up. But let's face it, the desperate problem there needs to have every available means to get food, clean water, medicine in there. And eventually, when this war is over, how are they going to do reconstruction when 80% of the buildings have been significantly damaged to the point of you can't live in them without access to the sea? Or you can see how many problems there are just bringing 40, 50 trucks in a day. How are you going to move that much rubble out and that much stuff in? So this is a much bigger issue that I think once this war is over, the international community needs to grasp. But we're still working there. We're doing what we can inside, working with the UN, working with the NGOs that we've been supporting the entire time. And obviously, we're looking forward to continuing.
Think about this, and all, great points, Mick. It's very easy, of course, to, jump on as almost every newspaper did and not attack, but just kind of ridicule the JLOTS effort. But, if a historical reminder, remember the Mulberry Harbor was smashed up in the immediate aftermath of the D-Day landings by not a higher sea state than expected. It's something they thought they prepared for, but it was decimated, and they put it together again and learned from it and built up an enormously robust over-the-shore logistics system based on the lessons. So, we forget, I'm pounding kind of the jingoistic drum here, that, one of our greatest strengths as Americans is our ability to innovate.
I got a question.
And learn from what has happened. And that's really the question going ahead. Isn't so much what happened, why, is what do we do now? How do we develop it? How do we learn from the lessons? And you're right. Very quickly, I mean, you mentioned 50 trucks. I mean, think about it. 150 trucks was kind of sustainment level throughout this crisis. But as you point out, when you get to reconstruction, it's going to be many times that. You're going to absolutely need over the shore the ability to deliver material over the shore. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen.
So for the permanent pier, what's holding it back? Like, what's the rub, really? Money, or is it like political will? Like,
there's funding. Thanks to the international community, there's funding. It's approval by Israel, and it's the agreement by the United Nations and the NGOs to keep using the system. So part of it's like a chicken and egg thing, to be fair. It's like, well, why am I going to send my stuff to Cyprus if there's no maritime corridor?
Yeah.
And then the Israelis like, well, if there's no maritime corridor, what am I approving? So, and obviously a little bitty advisory group like us can't make this happen. We're happy to talk to anybody, but it's going to have to take, leadership, the UN leadership, the United States, and the EU, right? Because the Amalthea plan coming out of Cyprus is really an EU thing. It's a Cypriot-led thing, but it's an EU thing. So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing inside and helping as many people as we can until hopefully that gets resolved. And we can start right now, and the funding's already there. So we can. It's a temporary facility, and I don't want to get too nerdy on you, but essentially,
get as nerdy as you like. That's
so
70% of our audience.
Oh, okay, cool. We dredge out a slot that a barge can come straight into the beach, and it's a nest, so it's secured. And then there's a sea break, if you will, a temporary one that depletes the wave issues, right? And then there's a platform with a crane on it that can take containers off and put it straight on the trucks. So you avoid put on a floating pier, and then it has to be put on smaller craft to bring it into the causeway, and then down the causeway to the Trident Pier, and then it's on. That was the J-Lots. Ours, it just barge comes straight to the beach. And the group that we've been working with, the engineering group, the shippers, and the logistics, they've already done these. So it isn't we can show that it works. So it's not
theoretical.
Not a surprise. It's not theoretical.
So why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that instead of the J-Lot?
Don't know. We came up with this plan that's referred to as the Blue Beach plan, basically because the first beach we looked at was the Blue Beach, and then we had to move it, but we couldn't change the name because everybody, knew it as Blue Beach. But
you got to have a blue beach. There's going to be a blue beach and a red beach. Otherwise, it's
got to.
Yeah, it's a worthless Bob.
Right. In December of 23, so this is way before the J-Lots, but that is what it is. What I would say to those that, I get the criticism of the J-Lots, but the criticism of the United States is, everybody else is talking about, what a crisis it is. What do you do something about it? Yada, yada, yada. We heard it all. And all of a sudden it was only the U.S. that pushed a pier from Virginia to Gaza. Yeah. So, I get the criticism, but it's like, hey man, it's not the critic that counts. It's the, as Teddy would say, it's the man in the arena. At least these servicemen and women were in the arena, and a lot of other people were just holding, big fancy conferences about what should be done.